What's going on, Japsters? This is your boy SYNTELL with the Intel. Now, I've hit the interwebs and looked for a few possibilities that could kickstart a few more Marvel properties as a result of Doctor Strange 2. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscription button, click the bell icon for up-to-date news breaks, and give us a well-placed thumbs up. All right, let's get this thing started. Carl Modo is still down for the big payback. Now, at the end of Doctor Strange movie, there's an end credit scene showing Mordo taking away the sorcery from a paraplegic man. Carl has vowed to take away magic from all sorcerers in order to maintain balance in the universe. Now, to me, Mordo was an interesting character in the movie because he was a true believer, disillusioned by the understanding that the world isn't just black and white. Most of the time, there's a lot of gray. The Sorcerer Supreme at that time was using parts of the dark arts to maintain order within the universe. Because of her use of the dark arts, Mordo was convinced her actions justified their enemies' use of the dark arts for their own desires. Sorcerers were twisting the natural boundaries of the world. And what if we're giving a sneak peek into a parallel universe where Doctor Strange decides to use his sorcerer for a more personal reason? This straying from the more enlightened choice only corrupts him and forces him down a path of complete destruction. If the What If series are using the storylines as a type of framework for the new MCU, then this could likely prove Mordo right in his assessment of the sorcerers. Why risk the possibility of someone using these dark arts for their own personal gain? It's far better to eliminate the possibility completely. His ability to steal magic from sorcerers could be used in a variety of ways. Everything from turning Doctor Strange into a mere mortal once again to possibly taming the potentially rage or grief-stricken Wanda into relinquishing her powers. The overall theme of Phase 4 appears to be magic in its many uses. Now hear me out. Someone who can potentially eliminate all magic users could become a consistent baddie throughout this phase of the MCU. He's been lurking in the shadows since 2016. I mean, that's plenty of time to hatch a scheme. Loki's next multiverse mission. Now, Tom Hiddleston confirmed earlier this year that Loki Season 2 would focus more on Loki making things right. By the end of Season 1, we see the birth of a new splinter timeline, the emergence of Kang the Conqueror, and a misguided variant of himself, Sylvie, willing to do whatever it takes to exact her revenge. Not to mention the central governing authority tasked with stabilizing the timeline changed into something he's no longer familiar with. The second season could stem from some unanswered questions in Doctor Strange's second movie. Three people are very important to kickstart this explanation to Doctor Strange of why the universe is in flux. One of the Loki variants, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, or the variant Sylvie, or Wanda. With all the changes from old MCU established characters in phases 1 through 3 to the introductions of the new characters manning the ship in Phase 4, with old heads being removed from the MCU, that leaves the original Loki and Doctor Strange eligible for the MCU pruning. Don't be surprised if the second season of Loki doesn't include Hiddleston's Loki. Loki is more or less a term for the name of a specific variant, not Hiddleston's character completely. In fact, the variant of Sylvie is a Loki, so the essence of the series would remain intact, but possibly without Hiddleston's version of Loki. The arrival of Kang the Conqueror. The Kang is here! We have learned that there could be numerous versions of Kang the Conqueror. I may not necessarily bet that Kang would have his own series, but he could be the multiple variant bad guy that plagues the timelines in various spin-offs. Jonathan Majors has been confirmed to appear in the Ant-Man sequel. This movie's not being premiered until 2023. A whole lot could happen in the MCU until then. Kang can not only conquer all timelines, but all forms of Marvel cinematic properties as well. That's plenty of room for him to wreak havoc among the MCU's various television shows, animations, and movies. Although WandaVision's second season has not been confirmed as of yet, the clamoring for a second season is something that can't be denied. Depending on how stable Wanda's mind may or may not be, she could easily be given a second season if she survives the whole ordeal. At the moment, she's currently residing in that final stage of dealing with surviving grief, acceptance. What better way to have her me moment destroyed than being forced to navigate a splintered timeline and take revenge on those who violated her peace? Listen, have you ever pissed off your mama and she gives you that warning not to violate her peace, but you do it anyways and all hell breaks loose? Yeah, that. Listen, this lady is fragile. And if the comics are any indication of how bad it could get, you should read House of M if you want the details. Heads could possibly roll as a result. Who would be a better person to get her back on the straight and narrow than Vision? It seems a little clunky at the moment, but keep in mind that series was super successful. It would be really difficult for Marvel not to go back to the well. Who knows? Instead of giving us old black and white sitcoms to settle her fragmented mind, maybe she jumps into the world of reality TV and becomes a real housewife of Marvel. Who knows? It could happen. As I just mentioned, a lot of focus has been placed on the Scarlet Witch appearing in the Multiverse of Madness, but the sequel will also feature the addition of an all-new character to the MCU. Following the trend WandaVision started off by introducing characters from the Young Avengers, you know, her two sons Billy and Tommy, who already demonstrated their own superpowers. There's Patriot, Kid Loki, Miss Marvel, and Kate Bishop. They're already established as well. Another Young Avenger, Miss America Chavez, will debut in the Doctor Strange sequel as well. Now, how does this all fit? Listen, the comic book version of America Chavez possesses a variety of superhero abilities, one of which being the ability to kick through reality itself, thus creating a portal to another world. These interdimensional openings, which happen to be shaped like stars, make it possible for America to travel to various corners of Marvel's universe. It seems likely that when Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch go on their multiverse adventure, the key to going from one dimension or timeline to another will be who? America Chavez. With every tool and spell in his magical arsenal, Strange may not have a quick method of traversing the multiverse. It has been said by Elizabeth Olsen herself that Scarlet Witch can accomplish this, but it could be that multiverse travel is a more involved spell and not one that she can easily pull off. That is where America comes into play, since effortlessly smashing portals through reality is her specialty. Who knows? Maybe somebody like, say, Mordo strips away Strange and Wanda's powers. Judging by the title, there's a good chance that Strange and Wanda will be in a situation where traveling between multiple worlds, and not just a few, will become necessary. Which is why it makes sense for a character like America Chavez to be brought along for the ride. It wouldn't at all be a surprise to see an American Chavez Disney Plus series as part of the next slate of MCU announcements. The Latin hero starred in multiple popular comic runs over the years, so if her Doctor Strange introduction proves successful, a solo project could be in the works. Now, we've seen cartoon Captain Carter, say that 3 times fast. Could we see a live action Captain Carter? What if kickstarted the series with the introduction of Captain Carter wielding a shield? This animated story drops a hint in the first episode with the appearance of a tentacle monster that she pushes back into an interdimensional portal. Another tentacle monster appears in Doctor Strange's What If debut as well. Coincidence? Probably not. Ever since the series was first announced, Captain Carter has been at the forefront of the marketing campaign. Recent trailers have revealed the character will appear at least a few more times. Don't be surprised if a live-action version of her character makes an appearance in Doctor Strange 2. As these universes collide with one another, she may be called from her realm to deal with whatever the universal big bad may be throwing at our heroes. You kind of always need a Captain America on your team. If her introduction is beloved by the fans, a spin-off on Disney Plus could be another way to continue to add content to their already abundant platform. Midnight Suns Assemble. Doesn't have the same ring as Avengers Assemble, but you know, whatever. Back in the 90s, there was a group of darker, magical characters who assembled to take on larger supernatural threats. The central characters have changed over the span of the publication, but some of the common members include Doctor Strange, Punisher, Moon Knight, Blade, and Werewolf by Night. A lot of these characters have already been confirmed to receive their moment in the spotlight for future Marvel properties. Interestingly, Marvel has just recently announced a Midnight Suns inspired video game titled Midnight Suns. Midnight Suns is set to be a tactics game based in the Marvel Universe. Players rise up and join a dark order of heroes to defeat Lilith before the Darkhold is complete. The title is set to launch on both last-gen and current-generation consoles in March 2022. Now, Marvel doesn't strike me as the type to spend big money on a video game and not use its cinematic universe as a marketing point to further interest in its upcoming properties. While she has never joined the team within the Marvel comics, it's likely the Scarlet Witch could join the MCU roster due to her immense popularity, her relevant power set, and let's be honest, to add some much-needed diversity to the lineup. With the MCU currently setting up multiple teams, including the Thunderbolts, Young Avengers, New Avengers, and the Midnight Suns, it's inconceivable for each to get a standalone project anytime soon. For a group like the Midnight Suns, it seems probable the team will first unite in an Avenger-esque solo film. You know, a dark hero type like DC's Suicide Squad, or potentially Doctor Strange 3 or Blade 2. The Illuminati! Now, this concept is certainly a way into the future type of reach, but hear me out. But with all that's happening in the multiverse of madness, it could completely set the stage as a way to police these higher level enemies with a council of elders whose reach moves beyond the concepts of what the Avengers could potentially stop. Think of them as a covert think tank of superhumans. While the team has varied over the years, The primary members usually included Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, Professor X, Namor, and Mr. Fantastic. Naturally, this lineup may require some significant changes to fit the MCU's adaptation. Once Namor, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men make their MCU debuts in the near future, much of this team will translate a whole lot easier. Iron Man's recent death will obviously prevent his role, and unless Marvel is looking to reboot the Inhumans anytime soon, Black Bolt will likely be absent too. Some of the members of the team could include Captain Carter, Captain Marvel, Thor, and the new Black Panther. If the Avengers can have their standalone movie of superheroes, this could be a potential gold mine as a replacement. Now don't get me wrong, you can still have the Avengers in the MCU, but this could essentially be a shadow organization of good guys. Mutants join the MCU. This is one that everyone has been looking for. What's up with the mutants? Reliable insider Daniel Rickman recently revealed Scarlet Witch will fight someone from the Foxverse, meaning a Fantastic Four or an X-Men character in Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. If, and that's a big if Daniel is correct, then Wanda may have a fight sequence which rivals even that of Doctor Strange versus Thanos in Avengers Infinity War. It's a tantalizing tease for sure, but the number of potential candidates isn't a short list. The first person who comes to mind is Magneto, who would not only make for an incredible action scene, but one with a fun background as well. Keep in mind, Wanda and Magneto were originally father and daughter in the comics. The list goes on, especially when it comes to the X-Men. There's Cyclops, Jean Grey as the Phoenix, Wolverine, Rogue, Cyclops possibly with a quick cameo with his boy Deadpool. It's certainly a hard thing to narrow down. The X-Men aren't the only group of characters that could be pulled from. There's always the Fantastic Four as well. I'm looking at you, Reed Richards. Not to mention their introduction to the MCU is probably more imminent than the mutants. Now I know, that's a lot to digest. Doctor Strange 2 could possibly be the linchpin that catapults Phase 4 into its final form. Like Rick and Morty, when you're dealing with multiverses, anything, and I mean anything, is possible. This is just a quick rundown of what could possibly be seen given the storylines and the confirmed rumors that have already presented itself. Please let me know what you think in the comments. What seems plausible? What seems like utter garbage? Whatever your opinion, it's just fun to speculate. I'm officially done breaking your brain. I really am done. That's the scoop for the day. Thank you so much for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to receive up-to-the-minute updates so you can get all this good information, man. There's also a nifty little thumbs up button that you can hit as well. This is SYNTELL with the Intel, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.